The one thing I've seen that nobody's talking about, with Xbox purchasing Activision. So will Black Ops 6 have Nuketown? Well, yeah, actually, it's been mostly confirmed that Black Ops 6 will feature a Nuketown remake. While it hasn't actually been announced, in a video briefly showing early access looks at the game, you can see the playtesters loading into Nuketown on their menu screens. So with that question mostly answered, I wanted to use the return of Nuketown as sort of a symbol for something that I hope to see for the rest of the things we learn about Black Ops 6. Is this game going to be a true return to form for fans of the series? Will this game prove to us that Treyarch and Activision are finally listening to fans? Will Black Ops 6 deliver an experience much more akin to the classics like Black Ops 1 and 2? And I know these are questions that fans want answered. And so far, I do think things are pointing in good directions. So let's take a look at the details. But first, we need to talk about identity. This is a phrase often brought up when discussing Call of Duty's most recent titles. And the way I see it, Call of Duty as a franchise has struggled to tread the waters of success in the post-Fortnite world of gaming. They've obviously watched as Fortnite learned to swim in all of the money they were making off their licensed character collaborations. And we all know they really wanted to get in on that action. And this change has led to many Call of Duty fans asking the question, what even is Call of Duty anymore? See, Call of Duty and Fortnite differ because Call of Duty has been around as a franchise for 21 years. There is an established history, tone, and set of characters that players have grown to expect from every installment. Whereas Fortnite wasn't really anything. No previous games or stories, no established or memorable characters. From its viral explosion in 2017, it was this super malleable template. It was the perfect and very popular starting point for the future of crossover events the game is now known for. And Call of Duty's recent chase to stay relevant as the largest cash cow in gaming, and the decisions that stem from this mentality, has classic COD fans wondering what's happened to their favorite franchise. These trend chases and overall loss of identity have led to countless bad decisions. From the gradual lack of effort put towards the campaigns, to today's issues of including wild crossover events and operator skins that really don't belong in a Call of Duty game. All in the pursuit of money, and always driving a larger wedge between their games and their hardcore fans. But Black Ops 6 looks like it will include Nuketown. And I mean this literally and symbolically. To me, this instance of bringing back Nuketown is indicative of a larger effort by Treyarch to deliver a game that brings the franchise back in the direction of its original identity. And this effort has to start with the campaign.
The team has been meticulously crafting every aspect of this game to deliver the fun and attitude players expect from the Black Ops franchise.
To revive Call of Duty and bring it back to what it once was, they'll have to give players a memorable, well-crafted narrative that feels akin to the Call of Duty games from the early 2010s. It needs to be a narrative that we can be proud to call a sequel to Black Ops 1.
The game is packed with unexpected moments of Black Ops mystery. It's a high-octane spy thriller where you're never sure who to trust and what's real. And it's all set against the backdrop of the early 90s. The Soviet Union was crumbling after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the end of the Cold War. The US is the only remaining superpower. The Gulf War was dominating headlines everywhere, and there was a growing mistrust in government, reflected everywhere across the music, television, and pop culture of the time.
And so far, what we've seen from the trailers has all been pretty good, shaping up to deliver a thrilling narrative that provides players something similar to what Call of Duty used to provide with its older games. In the older COD games, the campaign was the reason you bought the game. And in the days of Call of Duty 3, and even up to World at War, everyone got the game, they played the campaign, then hopped in the multiplayer to stick around because the campaign kind of stuck with them. It was like reading a good book. And when you finish it, you find yourself kind of trapped in that world once the book is over. They leave you wanting more, and I always felt like that's why people hopped into these early multiplayers before online really exploded. Because for these great campaigns of the early COD games, the multiplayer was the best way to stick around and stay in that world that had been so well crafted for a little while. It wasn't until Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and its multiplayer really exploded things started to change for Call of Duty. Because it was still a while after that point, campaigns were seen as still very important. But eventually it became clear to Activision and the other developing studios that the main moneymaker was the multiplayer. And this feeling grew with each game that was released. Eventually we ended up reaching a point where the campaign started receiving much less care as their focus followed the money, especially in the period where battle royales were beginning to dominate the world. I mean, Blackout and Black Ops 4 took the place of a traditional campaign completely. Many players felt this move away from strong narratives was a very negative one as the years went on. And there have been attempts to get back to that tradition, beginning with the first Modern Warfare reboot and culminating in one of the best COD campaigns in the modern era, which is Treyarch's Black Ops Cold War. So if anyone is going to truly bring back the great campaigns, it's Treyarch. And it has to be with this game. I know it's tossed around a lot in today's gaming discussions, but it does kind of feel like there's a little bit of a do or die feeling with this one. Every year the narrative seems to grow with people feeling like if this is another crappy COD game, then I'm done. So as far as the campaigns of these games go, they're running out of chances to really give the fans something great before all the good faith is gone.
With Black Ops 6, we're taking players to a new but familiar era, the early 90s. In true signature Black Ops fashion, our story builds on real history, thrusting players into a conspiracy where a shadowy force has infiltrated the highest levels of the US government, branding anyone who resists as traitors, and forcing players to go rogue for the first time to fight the very machine that created them.
And so far, what we've been shown from this latest campaign has looked very promising. We have the promise of this cool spy thriller narrative taking place in the Black Ops universe with Black Ops characters, which all so far sounds like a good base for a great Black Ops game. Seeing that certain missions will have branching paths and multiple ways to complete objectives looks very akin to Black Ops 2 in the way that game has a ton of different endings based on the decisions the player made throughout the game. The setting is also something that makes a foundation for a great Black Ops game. With the backdrop of the Gulf War, including the presidents and leaders of the 90s, and the already established setup of having fictitious undercover events that use this setting and time period to its full advantage. Hopefully this is all being set up to create something very compelling with this the truth lies angle. There's a lot here that can build up hope for a great campaign, but I feel like I have to mention the time Treyarch got my hopes up and let me down. Black Ops 3 had this one teaser trailer that featured the numbers from Black Ops 1. I got so excited for a game that would have a deep connection to the original in a futuristic setting. And then I played Black Ops 3, and it sucked. The only one weak connection there was to the older games was one in-passing mention of Menendez. That was the last Call of Duty campaign I played until 2019. So as excited as I am for what they've been showing from Black Ops 6, I can't help but be a bit cautious going into this one, not wanting to get my hopes up too high. But this can take us into the next pillar of the game. Because we've also seen good signals from Treyarch on things to expect from the multiplayer. A full suite of new maps that are said to take inspiration from the older games. It's a great start.
We're happy to announce that we will be launching with 16 all-new MP maps. We've got 12 core 6v6 and 4 strike maps, which can be played as 6v6 or 2v2.
And while we're talking about maps, I'd personally love to see the return of maps that take locations from the campaign and integrate them creatively into the multiplayer.
The maps have their own stories, and we have multiplayer taking place after the campaign, after you finish it. So don't want to get into too many spoilers there, but you'll experience some of those locations through the multiplayer lens.
This is an easy thing to get wrong, like if areas are completely ripped between the modes, because none of them are actually designed to fit within the other, and it creates a bit of confusion. But in the older Call of Duty games, maps would feature nods and references to areas that players would see within the campaign. This further provided that grounded, cohesive feeling between the multiple modes. And it can be subtle, but it helps fill out the whole package of this game and all of its modes. I know I've been full of talk about bringing the franchise back to its roots and finding its identity, but that doesn't mean I'm opposed to innovation and change. I just think it needs to be thoughtful and build upon the existing experience in a way that makes sense and feels like a continuation. And Black Ops 6 will feature one of the biggest gameplay changes we've seen in a while from Call of Duty. That being this new Omni movement system. From what I've seen of it, because we haven't seen a whole ton yet, I'm pretty excited to try this out.
Players immersed across every single mode. we've pushed ourselves at every corner to innovate and craft the most signature Black Ops experience for our players. Movement has been a consistent area of focus and innovation for Call of Duty. And with Black Ops 6, we're redefining movement across the entire game. For the first time ever, players can sprint in any direction and move like a true Black Ops action hero with an entirely new global system we call Omni Movement. This unlocks the ability to move like never before and seamlessly chain combat maneuvers like slide, dive, and our enhanced supine prone in full 360 degrees range of motion.
Not the first game to feature a movement system like this that allows the player to dynamically complete certain movements in any direction they're heading in, but this is the first time Call of Duty will be trying something like this, in an attempt to be both more realistic and more of a spectacle at the same time. And only time will tell how this system will perform within the multiple game modes. It seems like both a big deal and a small change at the same time. Like, I can't decide if it will feel really natural to use, rendering it a relatively small change, or if it being in a COD game will radically change the way I try and play and move around the map. All I really know now is that I'm hopeful it'll be a great new change up to the Call of Duty formula. Of course, we gotta talk about zombies. What we know from the zombies mode so far is that round-based zombies is back.
Round-based zombies is back, and we're picking up the Dark Aether storyline where we left it. We're excited to announce that there will be 2 brand new maps available at launch, with a curated mix of fan-favorite features and new elements to discover.
This is something fans have been requesting for a long time now. The last time there was a traditional round-based mode with distinct maps created for it was Vanguard Zombies, which did not perform very well with fans. Black Ops Cold War definitely had a cool zombies mode, and there were rounds, but it still had some extraction elements and only launched with one map that was centered around this concept. I thought it was cool, and I played quite a bit of Cold War Zombies around launch, but it didn't keep me interested long enough to get around to trying out the maps and future updates, although they did look pretty cool. These 2 maps confirmed for launch look to be 1, Liberty Falls, presumed to be the basic, easier map. In my mind, I hope this one plays like Town from Black Ops 2 or 9 from Black Ops 4. The simpler, laid out map where new players can get the hang of how the mode works, and where the experienced players can really try and go for high rounds with the easier map layout. I always found these sorts of maps to be the most fun for me when playing zombies. The second map is Terminus Island, the larger, more difficult, puzzle-oriented map. And while we all hope that both maps feature Easter egg puzzles, the larger, more complex maps always take that a few notches higher for the players willing to put in the time and effort to learn the map and all of its puzzles. Both maps look cool, the little bit we've seen of them, and I'm excited to check them out. And all I'm really looking for from zombies is to provide gameplay that's fun enough and maps that are designed well enough to make players want to spend lots of time running around them, training zombies, learning the puzzles, and in my case, following my friends around as they do the puzzles and I provide shitty cover fire. But if this mode is created with the intention of fun in mind, then that's really all I think it'll need to be successful. And I know there are plenty of very committed zombies fans that are really riding on Treyarch to save the zombies storyline, and zombies in general. Zombies has not been in a good place in the last probably 5 years of Call of Duty releases. I'm not super read up on the storyline of the zombies lore in particular, especially from the newer games, but I've seen discussion online that in the years since Black Ops 3 and 4 that the zombies storyline has been handled in questionable ways. Treyarch being the original developer of zombies and its storyline, I'm really hoping they're looking to rectify this alongside the marketed return of round-based zombies. Like, if you're gonna really get everyone excited that round-based zombies is back, then you really better hope you deliver something that the zombies fans are looking for.
The legacy of zombies is incredibly important to Treyarch, and we are so proud of what the mode is bringing to players in Black Ops 6. As you've heard today, the innovations in movement systems will also be coming to zombies. Plus, there are many additional zombie-specific features, both new and returning. This is going to be a truly epic return for round-based zombies.
But that covers most of what we know so far about Black Ops 6. And in all the ways I can mean this, Treyarch really looks to be bringing back Nuketown. And by that, I mean everything that has made the Black Ops series as special as it was in the past. Like I've said before, only time will tell if they actually pull this off and deliver the next great Call of Duty game. And there's something I just thought of the one thing I've seen that nobody's talking about. With Xbox purchasing Activision, I'm pretty sure they said somewhere that Call of Duty is going to be a bi-yearly release, and we actually just got a screenshot of Xbox's studios like lineup, which includes Black Ops 6, and they don't have a Call of Duty game slated for 2025, which, I mean, with GTA coming out, great move. If this Call of Duty game's gonna have the next couple years to breathe, we could see some really cool content in the future for Black Ops 6, which Black Ops is probably the best Call of Duty like franchise, like, you know, individual franchise to get something like this. And this game has already had one of the longest developments of a Call of Duty in forever, if not ever, I don't know. Meaning there's a lot here that really is pointing in a good direction for Call of Duty fans to be eating good this year. But that's all I got for this video. If you want to see more from me, click on one of the videos on screen now. Thanks for watching.